Kaki Lee is a wealth and share trading mentor, writer, and creator of Cash Flow Queen, a signature program where she teaches women how to make cash on the US stock market in under 30 minutes a week through strategy, mindset, and energetic alignment. She believes trading isn't just a numbers game, it's a mindset and emotions game. Her mission is to help women achieve financial sovereignty so they can live with freedom, confidence, and ease. A 4-time #1 international best-selling author, Kaki has been featured on multiple summits and podcasts, sharing her wisdom on wealth creation, share trading, money mindset, and motherhood. She lives in Perth, Australia, with her husband and 2 daughters. When she's not doing all the things, she's playing and eating her way around Perth with her family and friends.
Thank you so much for coming. I have been waiting. How long have you been going back and forth with this? Years. And last year when you had your book out, I really wanted to talk to you about it. And then things didn't work until today. And I'm so happy you are here. Everybody, this is Kaki. And she's one of the people that I met and I just love her. I don't know why. But maybe you will find out. You'll find out why I love her. And I'm sure you will love her and what she does and her mission in the world. I really respect that. So, Kaki, why don't we start by you telling us who you are?
Oh, thank you. And I love you so much as well. Is this love bomb that we have, and we have no idea why because we're on the total other side of the world from each other. Yeah. So, me, who am I? Well, I'm in Perth, Australia, and am a mother, a wife. I used to be a pharmacist. Actually, I should say I'm still a pharmacist, but not practicing. And I had this complete career change when I had my second child. And now I teach people how to make money on the stock market. And I'm an author, as you can see from my books at the back. And I'm an intuitive energy healer. I've been doing actually quite a bit of learning in the last few years, and more so in the last couple of years, doing energy healing. So, yeah, it's been fun. And that's just me in a very small nutshell.
And I think the first reason I love you is the accent. I love your accent. And that's the first reason. But then again, you're in Australia and I'm all the way here. It must be also some kind of opposite magnetism. So today I invited you because I read your Badass Asian Women. And we are going to talk about that. I've been wanting to talk about that for a long time. But of course, we are going to talk about everything that you do. I invited you because of the book. I have a few questions. Family, culture, expectations, identity, belonging, diversity, every topic that you talk about in that book, something I'm passionate about. And it really zoomed me in. And I was like, oh my God. And I will talk about my experience of it more. But why don't you tell us why you wrote that book, Badass Asian Women, starting from the title? And 9 people wrote that, right?
9 people, yeah,
9
including
women.
myself. Yeah.
And about the process of it. Why don't you walk us, through?
Yeah, for sure. I'm getting like chills as you were speaking. So, Badass Asian Women, how did it come about? All I can say, it was a divine download. There is no other explanation for it. I was actually finishing off The Awakened Feminine at that time. I was working with a publisher and I was the person bringing in the authors for that book. And it was more towards the end of that process. And I just got this message, Badass Asian Women. Yeah. I couldn't have made it up. I guess I could have, but it just came. And I remember going, I haven't even finished this yet. I'm not doing it. And who am I to put this book together? So I kind of pushed it away. But of course, when things are meant for you, they always keep coming back. And I just kept getting hounded. It was like Badass Asian. And then it got to the point where I went, fine, I'll do it. And I remember then getting another message saying, you need to start your own publishing company to do this. So I was like, all right, then. Okay, we're doing this thing, brand new thing. So I started my own publishing company and I started creating this book. And looking for the women was a process because I had a podcast before, and that's how I met Senait. And so I was talking to all these women, but very little Asian women. I connect so well with everyone, but for some reason, for my podcast, I didn't get a lot of Asian women come on. So I'm thinking, where am I going to meet these people? And in my physical circle of friends in Perth, I know that my friends would not even, entertain the idea of sharing stories because culturally, societally, people don't want to like open up the closet and let people rummage through and see all the things behind the scenes that other people don't know except for themselves. So again, it's very much, I'm always very led by the universe, divine, whatever you want to call it. And I can tell you that came with a lot of practice of not listening and getting whacked. But
Yeah.
with this, I really did listen. And so when I told my friends, in the greater world about it, they were like, oh, I know this person and I know this person. So really, that's how I met all the people in my book. It was through connections. So I love the power of connections. I love connecting with people. So it was just amazing that people just brought my friends that I met online then brought people to me, and these women are also now my friends. So, yeah, that was the process. And it wasn't straightforward. I think I got the first half of people in, and then I had to go into cocoon season. I just could not do this anymore. It was just this weird feeling of I just need to retreat and be in my space. At the same time, stressing because I'm going with telling the authors from before that this is a timeline. I'm like, well, now we need to push out the timeline because Kaki cannot actually move this forward because there's something that needs to shift. So I actually took 6 months off, and I'm so grateful that all the women I got in the book were so understanding and patient with me. And when I came out again, all the other women just came in and we completed the 9. I had actually wanted a lot more, but then I went, you know what? I just want it to be a small book because when you have so many authors in a book, sometimes people don't even get to your story or you dilute the story because you only give them a limited, very limited amount of words. So my book, each author got 5,000 words. I know most of these ones that I've been in have been like 1,500 to 2,000 or 3,000 words. So, having that extra allows the author to really give more and express more of their story.
What a beautiful way to connect with women. Like you said, there, you found them, you never knew they existed, and you just found these people who will be sharing their story with you and then impacting women together, like the magic of it. And then you become
Yeah.
friends with them. What a
Yeah.
powerful way, Kaki. And I so like you. You connect people. And I love also your conversation with the universe. Yeah, yeah, okay, okay, I'll do it. I loved it because sometimes we have these ideas and then we're like, I don't want to do it, but you know that it's coming from somewhere, and that tells me your connection, to the universe, and so beautiful. I just needed to say that. And before
Thank
I
you.
go deep into that, what came to me was when you were talking, what is a pharmacist doing all this? It's like, where's that bridge? From a pharmacist, how did you go from chasing Asian women to tell a story that is culturally not appropriate, or people are not willing to do that, and then to gather them and then just inspire others? Could you tell me a little bit about that journey?
Can I give you the answer of I don't know? Because I don't know. Well, I mentioned that I had this career change when I had my second daughter. So this was 2019 before COVID. So I had my daughter in June 2019, and then COVID was around March. So during this time, I decided that I wanted to become a life coach. Don't know why, but okay, I just had this calling, this feeling. And because I saw her ad on Facebook and I just felt that person speak directly to my heart. And I've never had that feeling before. And I was doing a lot of healing at that time with Reiki master, who was a medium and all those things. Anyway, so from that point, I went into life coaching. Then from life coaching, I did a quantum healing certificate. And then I wanted to save the world, especially during COVID, right? When everyone's going, oh my gosh, what's happening? But at that time, I got a download. I got a message from the universe as I was trying to set up my coaching business, start a podcast. And I remember going, I don't have time to scratch my bum. How am I'm not starting a podcast. And I
Yes.
kid you not, when I said, okay, fine, just tell me about it. I got the name of the podcast. I got the questions. I got the whole reason of starting a podcast like that. And you can't make that stuff up. You really can't. So I went, okay. And I remember having a conversation with my coach that evening because I just happened that day to have a coaching call. And she's like, you just need to start your podcast. And I went, okay. So I started my podcast called The Awakened Feminine. And I did it for, gosh, long time, 4 years. And I met all these wonderful people, one of them being a publisher. And I remember interviewing her, and the next morning she emailed me. She's in America. And she emailed me. She's like, that was one of the best interviews I've done. I'm still buzzing from it. And I'd like to offer you a spot in a multi author book. I had no idea what a multi author book was at that time. And I'm going, okay. And I remember just feeling this full body, tingles going, oh, wow. Yes. Okay. I have no idea what it entails, but yes. And it was also such a beautiful feedback from a podcast guest because a lot of times you do your podcast and you have no idea what the guest thinks or how it goes. But for someone who was constantly on podcasts, she did about 10 to 20 a month
Oh,
to say
wow.
that, yeah, to say that that was one of the best interviews was wow, that's really cool. And so I did my first multi-author book, wrote my story, and went, wow, this is really healing. This I was crying, write my story, reading it, and as you would know, because
Yeah.
you write as well.
Mm.
And then through that book, I met another lady. So that was Monique. And then I met Bridget through that book. And she offered me a place in Prosperity Codes. And then after that, I got a download to write children's books, completely different. And I spoke to Monique, the first publisher that introduced me to multi author books. And she goes, asking her about, how to publish a children's book. And I remember that morning when I was driving before our appointment, I was thinking, oh, yeah, okay, children's book. I'm meeting with Monique soon on the phone. And then I just got this download go, The Awakened Feminine, you need to write a book. And I'm going, okay. You need to create these multi-author books. So when I was talking to Monique, I asked her, okay, so multi-author books, I might as well ask you while I'm here, how do I do it? And she
Yeah.
goes, oh, I can help you with that. So she did the publishing side whilst I gathered the women. And as I mentioned before, during this process, that's when I got the download for Badass Asian Women. So really, when I think about it, everything I've done from when I left pharmacy was very divinely guided without me even not I don't know if it's knowing is the right word. Without trying, it was like the universe was leading me out of pharmacy. It's like, you're not going back.
Yeah.
You're coming out and not going back. Yeah, so that's the
Wow.
story in a longer nutshell.
Yeah. That's really amazing. What I like about this is your courage. And you listen. Earlier, I said you listen to the universe. I love the conversation you have, but also it takes courage and trust. Like most of us, we have ideas, we have, as you call them, like download, or we have intuition, and
Yes.
you listen to your intuition and you just follow through. And that's very unique. And that's what led you, to where you are. That takes courage, Kaki. And I
Thank
admire
you.
your courage. The other thing that stood out to me was like healing. The first time that you wrote the book, you were involved, it just made you cry. And it's like healing through writing. And writing does that for me as well.
Yeah.
Expressing yourself through writing is the best way to heal things that you didn't even know needed healing, right?
Yes, or
What's
things that you
happening
thought
right
you
now?
healed.
What's happening right now? You know? So that is so beautiful. So let's go back to badass Asian women. Let's start with the badass. Is that culturally appropriate to say that?
No, apparently not. Yeah, well, badass is not a oh, actually, this would be a funny story to tell you because after it was published, I went to some of the local independence bookstores, and one of them said to me that it wasn't very appropriate to have in their bookstore because of the name. So that demographic is a bit older,
Mm.
but yeah, so it's interesting. Other bookstores were like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." So yeah, there are still people that think badass is a bad word, and I know that it can be, but I mean, that was the download that I got, so I went with it.
And just for the definition purposes, so what is badass to you?
Mm,
What does a badass woman in general
yeah.
mean to you?
Well, I think a badass is someone that takes their life by the reins and goes with it rather than allowing themselves to drift to wherever. Because a lot of people, like you mentioned, get
Mm.
the downloads, get the ideas, but then they're too scared to do it.
Mhm.
Or they go and do it and then they're scared of judgment because family, culture, society. And I think a badass is someone that, yes, I can't say that they don't worry about it, but they worry about it and do it anyway. And obviously doing good things in the world and not killing people. Like probably the previous version of badass is someone that's not a good person. But
Yeah.
in this more modern age, badass is someone that has courage and does a thing and takes responsibility for their actions and builds a life that they are happy to live because there's so many people that I know would rather not be doing what they're doing.
Right. It doesn't seem like when you look at the word, it sounds like a bad word, but it's actually holds a different meaning, like, rebellion
Mm,
in a good way.
yes, rebelling in a good way. I like
Authenticity,
that. Yes.
authenticity, resilience, and, something that is outside of the culture towards truth. And that's
Mm,
how I saw it when I was reading your book. That's what stood out to me. Oh my God, look at all these courageous women speaking their truth outside of the culture. So, since we were talking about, going outside of, so many of the women in the book speak of shame or guilt for not fitting in into familial. Actually, yesterday, where was I? We were talking about this, the cultural, it's an anthropological word, like cultural shaming, right? We use that to keep everyone in their place. you know
yeah.
you do something and you're like, your mom gives you this look and you're like, she doesn't have
Yeah.
to even speak, right? You are corrected without speaking. So all that shame and guilt for, makes you not fit, because if you step out of that, then you get all that. And you're considered like you are refusing to be culturally molded, which is what it is. And could you share one particular striking story from the book that illustrates this tension?
Mm,
You can also share yours. I loved it.
yeah. Thank you. I think what I loved about this book and the stories that were shared is the women that read it are from all cultures and they go, I saw me in there. Because even though as an Asian person, I might think that culturally that's mine, there's so much that's shared, especially after I've interviewed so many women, you just go, wow, we all share the same shame and the same guilt. It doesn't matter what color, what religion, whatever you are, we have that. So I think the biggest thing for me in terms of the shame part is I don't think I wrote that in the story, but it was leaving pharmacy because I spent it's not a lot of time when you consider the whole grand scheme of things, but I spent 4 years studying, another year practicing before I could get my license. And growing up as an Asian, like Chinese, it is very stereotypical. What you hear in, stand-up comedies is so true. You be a lawyer, a doctor, right? Engineer, accountant, those things. Pharmacists didn't really make it on the list, but my parents, held it in high regard because they would say to me, become a pharmacist. This is from me when I was 12. Okay. Be a pharmacist is good because then if you're a doctor, you're on call 24/7. Pharmacist is just normal working hours. And they were thinking about retail, and you can choose how many days you work. So after you get married and have children,
Yeah.
then it fits the life. And that was the vision. Oh, you go to university, get a good job, get married, have children, and then work around that. So when I didn't renew my pharmacist license and I'm doing all my things, my parents have no freaking idea what I'm doing. And they just didn't understand, why would you leave a professional, respectable, stable job?
Mhm.
And there was a lot of guilt and shame, because coming from Hong Kong to Australia to give us a better life, because I think in Hong Kong, it's actually very, very competitive and very, very hard to get into university. If we had stayed there, I probably wouldn't have even gone to university. Who knows, right? So
Yes.
the shame and guilt I felt, because it's like a letdown to my parents. So that probably was the big, big thing for me. Funnily enough, I attracted another two pharmacists in my book, and they're the same, leaving the pharmacy profession after, your parents work so hard to get you to a different country to start a new life, so that you can be that professional that they never could have been, that they never were. So, yeah, that was a big shame that work through.
Yeah, it is. I know it's sometimes it's very heavy because that cultural expectation, or
Yes.
parents also, and then your personal desire sometimes are in clash, especially for the immigrant community. You are
Mm.
probably a second generation. Are you considered
Uh,
a second generation
I
or
don't know. I always get confused with whether I'm the first or second, because I wasn't born in Australia. I was born in Hong Kong. So I'm
that
not
you grew
sure.
up?
I
Yeah,
grew up here. Yeah. So I don't know.
maybe
I,
you are both
yeah. I'm kind of that in between, I think.
in between.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
remember growing up in Australia?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I came here when I was 6. So from 6 onwards, I'm 43 now. So I'm Aussie, I'm Australian. Yeah, I don't remember a lot of my upbringing when I was in Hong Kong. There are certain things that I remember that flash through my mind.
yeah,
I mentioned in the book, I still remember the friend from kindergarten,
yeah, that's so
and that was
beautiful.
in Hong Kong. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So just because the world levels things, you want me to box you in with the first generation? Yeah,
Whatever works.
you're both. You're both. And second, I would like to know what's your secret. You don't look 43.
Oh,
How's your face so glowing
it's
and
probably the filter
tall
on
and
Zoom.
nothing? I would like, off camera, I need you to send me the secret, okay? I mean, that's a beautiful story, even though it's heavy and feeling the shame, we all have gone through it. So while I was going through the book, each story was unique, but also it has something in common, which is the shaming and the, trying to break free from this expectation and then always this conflict between what you want, what your parents want, and then what the societal expectation, get a job, go do this. Or what if that's not what I want? Or in some cultures, I'm sure in Asian culture, and that's what I understood from reading the book, that's a no-no. Don't step out, right? But the funny thing was, I found myself also in there. How is it possible that I grew up in Africa and then, I came here? uh, I can actually understand and empathize and be inspired by some of the women, even though they grew up, you know, some of them they grew up in China, some of them were here, and them coming here and the struggle, all of it. And it's like, what? We
Yeah.
are very similar as
Yes.
women, what we go through. It really was inspiring to read all that because, like you said, this is hidden, and you making it accessible helped me. I've always felt connected to you, of course, but I've always felt connected to the Asian culture because of my experience living there for 2 years. But this took it a little deeper. Oh my God. I felt connected, but now it's even taking it deeper because now I recognize myself in that struggle. as well. I wanted you to know that. And thank you for,
Yeah.
making the book accessible to all of
Mm.
us. In the book, Asian women are often portrayed in, stereotype. It's not just Asian culture, by the way, but model minority, submissive, exotic. How does your book aim to disrupt or expand those narratives in your culture, in the Asian culture?
Yeah, definitely submissive and quiet and the good girl.
Sure.
And yes, the good girl. And I think that's why, the women in the book are so amazing being able to share that story because that every one of us broke free from the stereotypes. We're not submissive, even though we may have been. And we just decided enough's enough. Really, we don't want to be in this box anymore that we've been told to live by in the the four walls, the stereotypes, because it kills you inside.
Mhm.
And I think one of the biggest reasons that I really wanted to bring this book to life after I said yes and I had to think it was to share that, to let other, not just Asian women know, just other women to know and give them permission to be themselves, to not be afraid to speak up. And don't get me wrong, I still have those moments where I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that or I shouldn't do that. But then I think, okay, am I going to hurt anyone? If I'm hurting their feelings, then okay, too bad because that's their problem, not mine. But if if it's going to damage someone, okay, does it damage anyone? No. Okay. If I don't do it, how would I feel?
Mm.
And if I'm going to be regretting it or feel less than and feel like my light is being dimmed, then I'm going to go ahead and do it
Yeah.
because so many of us are so afraid of what might happen if we step on the other side. And I think I'm a pretty good example of showing people that a lot of good things can happen on the other side. Yes, it's scary. I have no idea where it's going to take me is really stepping into the unknown. But everyone that knows me from, childhood can see how much happier and how much freer and how much I've bloomed
Mm.
since I've left pharmacy. So that's what I think this book brings to the table to just really open the eyes of not just Asian women, but women in general, that you can really do anything. And yes, you might have those really downward spiral moments, but you can definitely come out of it stronger and better and brighter.
Oh my God. Into the unknown. Into
Yeah.
the
And
unknown.
look,
That's what
Elsa
was coming.
bloomed into the fifth spirit.
Exactly.
Yes, I have
That's
watched Frozen a lot of times.
me too. That's what came to my mind automatically. I'm like, okay, let's go. And that's very scary. It can be very scary because, the culture has shaped us and it's not an imagination because you might not be accepted. And so you
Mhm.
fear not belonging because then you might have to step out of, that. But it takes courage because you are doing that saying, okay, even if they don't accept it, this is my truth. I'm just gonna, it takes a certain courage, but also trust into
Mm.
the unknown will be okay. So, how was it received by your family or by others? And tell us a little bit about the unknown. When you
Uh,
met the unknown, how was it?
do you mean the book or just in general the changes that have happened?
The book. Let's talk
The
about the
book.
yeah.
It's funny because you would think that your family and friends would read your book, but a lot of them don't. My friend did buy it and she told me, I'm finally at your story a year, nearly 2 years later. There are people that don't read because they don't want to know, because they're scared of seeing themselves not doing the thing that they want to do.
Mm,
Yeah, and that also in real life translates to friends leaving, friendships
mm,
ending. My family, my brother read it. My brother's really good and he
mm.
loved it. My husband loves it. My mum and dad don't really understand English, so they have not read it. But I have to say, just in general, my dad and my mom are actually really happy that I do what I do now, which has been such a journey in itself because going from why did you leave pharmacy to go, we can see how happy you are, which I was crying when my dad said that to me because Asian dad, you just don't get those words.
Yes.
So it just shows you how much inner work that has been going and just staying in my truth and not allowing others to box me back into something that I didn't want to do. But it's been well received. And, then there's the people that love you and just read everything that you put out. And the feedback has been amazing. And, from yourself and, quite a few of my girlfriends have read it. They're like, this is like a transmission. I can see myself in it. And all those friends are not Asian.
Did you
Which
write
I'm
it
like,
for me?
oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, all those friends like you and my other friends, none of them were Asian that gave me the feedback that wow, this is transmission. I can see myself. I mean, obviously the authors in the book read it and we all loved each other's stories, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was well received by those who read it because they saw themselves in it, which for me it was like, wow, it's not just Asian women that this will activate. It's
Mhm.
yeah, all women. Yeah. And
Yeah.
even men, I think, to understand
Yeah.
how we feel and what we experience.
It's such a gift to the world. And I can completely understand when you said, not all of your friends read your book. And I can attest to that. And we forgive them.
Yes, we do.
It's an incredible journey for you. And I'm so happy that your dad did that for you because you did it. Even if you don't receive that, it doesn't matter. You stuck to your truth. And sometimes people think also because I come from a very culturally bonded culture, people think like stepping away is like the name says, badass or whatever. Being a rebellion does not really mean what it means or what we think it means.
Yeah.
Usually it's just standing in your truth, inviting others to join you
Yes.
in their truth, not in your truth, but in their truth. And that's the only way we can evolve those old beliefs. And thank you for being that for your community. You also have a publishing company. You said you founded a publishing company after the second book. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Starting it was well, I got the download to start a publishing company to publish Badass Asian Women, and that's the only book I've published so far.
Wonderful. You have to
And
start somewhere.
yeah, and it's interesting because as I was doing all the other books, I was like, wow, this publishing thing is so cool. And I started my own. I learned from Monique, the first publisher that got me into multi-author books. And yeah, it's learning all these new skills. I think one of the things that people always ask me is like, how do you know how to do all these things? Because they're going, you're a pharmacist and now you teach share trading and you are a podcast host and, publishing books and writing books and doing all these things. I'm like, just somehow learn it and just go and do it. Half the time, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it and it just happens to work,
Yeah.
really. So, yeah, my publishing company opening was nothing extraordinary. It was pretty much following what my mentor taught me and then winging it as well. And it just all came together. I
Yeah.
mean, could things have been done better for Badass Asian Women? Most certainly. But, who else can say that they've got a publishing company and they've published a book? Not a lot of people. So doesn't matter.
That
Yeah.
is so cool. It's a cool journey. I like your courage to actually jump into something that you don't know. You're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the way. And it's really, really inspiring. And I do remember after our talk about, the when you were writing Badass Asian Women, you also shared that information with me. And I was like, that's very unique in women these days because most women they compete, they tend to be jealous. They're like as if the resources are not available, how the world works and trying to put each other down or hiding information and all of that. But I found that very intriguing when you just said, oh, if you want to know, this is how you can do it too. And you just shared this with me. And I'm like, oh, Oh, that's another reason I love you. Because it's very unique, and I wonder if that has anything to do with being a badass. What do you think?
Yeah, I never considered it a trait of a badass, but yeah, now that you mention it, I've always, I don't want to say hate, disliked people that withhold information. Because when I used to be working in the pharmacy, there's always the people that don't want to tell you things because they don't want you to take their job.
Yeah.
But I was always like, yeah, you can do this. Da, 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 da," And sometimes they take the job that I want because I shared so much. Right?
Yeah.
But I just feel like if I know something, I want to share it. And if things are meant to be, then they are meant to be. So maybe I wasn't meant for that job. And then I ended up getting a job above them. So, whatever. So it doesn't really matter. And I think sometimes I have been told by my spiritual teacher, you share your knowledge with people too much. You should really start charging. for
Georgina, yes.
And I go,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay."
I
But
did
if
not know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
with my friends, I'm very happy to share, and I just don't feel like there's competition because everyone does things differently. Because
Exactly.
if we are so worried there won't be lots of different restaurants, there won't be, different fashion designers because they're like, oh, someone's already done that. I can tell you how to do something, but then it's then up to you to take that information and make it your own, which is what I do all the time. I really don't believe in people giving you the step by step formula. I can give you my step by step formula, but my caveat is always take it and take what works and play around with it because what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you.
I love that. That's actually the abundance mentality. Not everybody operates from that mentality, because I feel like that there is enough for everyone, more than enough. That's why there's no point in not sharing. When it rains, I mean, it rains for everyone. Everything in nature happens that way. That's very unique. And we women need to get to that so that we don't get bitter and live from our truth. And I know that you teach something on that path, like abundance, prosperity. You even wrote a book about prosperity codes, and you're currently doing something about that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I teach share trading on the US stock market, even though I'm in Australia. So much more opportunities in the US. My
Yeah.
dad taught me to share trade when I was in my late teens, early 20s. It's just too long ago. I can't remember the exact age. And he always said to me, if you want to get ahead, you need to learn to invest because
Mm.
working's not going to get you anywhere because you're just working for someone else's dreams. So I'm like, okay. So I started share trading very early on, but my dad was also self-taught. So then he taught me and I made some money, I lost some money, it probably was even in the end, but it was a bit like gambling for me at that time. And I think my mindset, obviously, at such a young age, I didn't quite understand really what he meant. Fast forward to, I think it was 2018 when I went to a seminar and I met my share trading mentor. And I remember sitting in the room going to my husband, this is it. This is it. And my husband's like, no, we're not doing it. A year later, he's like, "Okay, go and do it."
Yeah.
And I during maternity leave, I remember I went on maternity leave and I went, "I'm gonna do this course now." Because that's what you do. First day mat leave and, in the hospital, just had my second child, calling my coach and he's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Just popped a baby out." And he's like, "Why are you calling me?" I'm like,
The
"Baby's
baby, yeah,
sleeping."
yeah,
Yeah, baby's
yeah.
sleeping, I got nothing to do. So I'm learning this new share trading method with my coach during that time. And once I started trading, I replaced my pharmacist income, like full-time pharmacist income, like monthly income. And I went, oh, wow, I don't need to go back to work. So then that's when things, you know, started shifting and changing, and the universe really leading me out of pharmacy. And obviously, in the last, gosh, it's nearly 7 years now since I've left pharmacy. Wow, it's been that long. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Or
Incredible.
6.5 years.
Yeah.
There's been lots of ups and downs with abundance and money. I wrote that story in the Prosperity Codes where I did lose a whole lot of money during the crash with COVID. Then I made all that money back and more. And then something else happened. And, so I've had lots of, I call them money shit shows in these last 6.5 years. But
Yeah.
it's really helped me to not tie my identity to money, because that was what I've been doing my whole life. Because when you, especially in the Asian culture, money is God. Money is like, really, we have a God of
Really?
money. Yes, we have a God of
Wow.
money. So all our identity, our everything is tied to how much money we have in the bank, what jobs we have. That's why lawyer, doctor, all those things. So that helped me pull that apart, which then has helped me now really have a more grounded approach to my share trading, as well as also really being able to connect a lot more, because I'm now quite clear of all the BS labels that we put on ourselves. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
So
what I
first,
do. I teach that. So share trading plus the mindset and the emotional energy stuff.
wow. First, I'm gonna buy the prosperity course. Okay. And then tell me about the classes. When is the next class? Everything that, if somebody listens to that and feels inspired like I am right now, tell me how often you hold these classes
Mm.
and where they can find those
Yeah.
classes.
I'm going to be completely honest. And when people say that, they're not, no, but I am. I've been in a cocooning season and I don't know when the next classes are. So probably beginning of next year. I don't know. But right now, and of course, when I'm in my cocooning season, every single time people start asking me, when's your next class? When's your next class?
Yeah.
And so I've been offering people the recordings from my previous class and
Mhm.
then giving them support via WhatsApp and Zoom. So if people want to jump in before my next lot of live group classes, they can have that option. And it's just a matter of reaching out to me. Otherwise, you more than welcome to go on the wait list. And when the next lot of classes start, then you'll be the first to know.
That is wonderful. Please share all of that links so that I can put it down below when we share this video.
Mm.
And I might even jump in to your next
Yeah.
class. I feel inspired the way you talk about trade sheet. What?
Share trading.
Share trading. I'm sorry. Tongue tied. You see, that's how much I know about share trading.
Yeah. Stock market
And I
is
would like, yes,
volatile right now.
my
So,
my dad, my husband, they obsess about it. I always think like it's not for women. I don't want to bother my head. But listening to you talking about it with passion made me feel like, huh, maybe it's
yeah.
something that I can learn about. So I would like to come to one of your classes and learn from
Yeah.
you, and
Yeah.
share the recorded links also,
Yeah.
so that I can share them. That's amazing
Thank you.
that you do that, because it actually shows in your personality. Like you do have an abundance mentality in the way you share, in the way you are, in the way you freely share who you are. And this is how I know you. Like you are like this in real person, aside of
Yeah.
the camera. We never met in person, but
Yeah.
via Zoom, or we have talked a lot, and then you're just who you are. And that's really a beautiful thing. Do you have girls?
Yes. I've
Are
got
they
two
both
girls.
girls? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I remember that because I have two boys and you have two girls.
Yeah.
So, what would you teach your girls about being a badass Asian woman? Um, yeah, well, girls, but what is it that you teach them differently that you learned the way, you
Uh,
know, in
I
your
think
upbringing?
parenting is so hard because one, the big part of me wants them to be that badass Asian
Mhm.
women. And then you're the mum and you're like, you need to listen to me.
Yes.
Stop
I
questioning my authority.
Exactly.
You know?
Don't talk back.
Yeah. So is this like constant fight, internal fight within where you go, oh, that's great that they have, they have their own thoughts and at the same time you're like, oh, why aren't they listening to
Yes.
me? So my girls, I think, get all of me.
Yeah.
Whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing to do, I don't know. But growing up, mum was, I mean, I get told off by my mum, but mum doesn't
Mm.
show emotion, right? Apart from when she's telling you off. Right? There's
Yes.
no hugs, there's no I love yous because that's just not part of the culture.
Also in
Yeah.
Africa.
Ah, okay. Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. So there's lots of hugs, lots of I love yous, and lots of chats. I'm always explaining to my girls about life. They might come home with something and then we have a talk about it. So very open and about open conversation, always checking in with them. I think for me, it's really important to have our channel of communication always open. So I'm putting a lot of work into that and spending time with them, present time with them, and not to say that I don't scroll on my phone either, because
Yeah.
unfortunately we're all a bit addicted to it, but making time for it, having those big talks. My elder one has been going through a lot of people bullying her, friendship
I'm
problems. So we
sorry to
have
hear
those
that.
talks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have those talks and also reminding her, yes, people bullying other people isn't right, but teaching her about forgiveness early. Yeah. So things like that. And then teaching her that bullies bully because they're hurt. So there's lots of things we don't know. So even though, yes, they're hurting you, just, don't hate on them. There's always
Mm.
something behind the scenes. Yeah, just we talk about money. So my daughter has a little Etsy shop, online shop selling her things. So things that my parents would not be teaching me. And like I said, they get all of me. So all my emotions, they understand. And then I explain to them, sometimes when my daughter's telling me about the bullies, I do get angry, when someone's bullying your child. So I'm like, but I'm like, don't do that. And,
Yeah.
things like that, where I show them that it's okay to have emotions. I think that's one big thing in Asia culture. We are very much like, oh, yeah, let's pretend everything's okay. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
it goes across all cultures, but Asians are
Yeah.
very, very, very much all about face. So
Mm.
you can't show the bad things at all. And I'm teaching them that it's okay, but also to teach them, like, you don't go, if you're angry, don't go around shouting at everyone, but it's okay to feel those emotions and have that outburst in a safe environment
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's what I do differently, I think, to
That is
my
beautiful.
parents. Yeah. Very long
I
answer.
mean, every generation is different and beautiful in its own
Yes.
time. And I'm so glad that you're giving them that. And I know the challenge that we have in this day and time.
Yes.
This age is very hard to teach the kids, but we try our best. So that is very beautiful. And what touched me is that you tell them not to hate, because hating
Mhm.
someone is like making your heart contaminated,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
For a woman, that's very important, when for little girls, getting it is really important so that you are removing a lot of stuff, they can avoid. And yeah, you took me in. And I'm like I was thinking, how would my life be different if I was raised like that, But then again, it all had purpose and, we learned from it. So, my next question is, do you anticipate any downloading about any new book that involves other cultures that you and I can collaborate?
Oh, I'm always open to collaborations, and you know that. And, after I did Badass Asian Women, I actually had a couple of downloads for books,
Mm,
but it didn't feel right at the time to do it. So they're still at the back of my mind, although now I don't feel like they're really what I want to do. And it's funny that you ask about immigrants, because that's been another download recently when my mom, who is the most like, she doesn't like showing anything about herself, said to me,
mhm.
"Oh, you should write a book about us and like moving to Australia." And I'm going, "Wow, my mom just said that? What?"
Yes.
And then I thought, won't it be lovely to write a book about, not me write a book, but, have a book where immigrants write about what it feels like to step into another country
Yeah.
and integrating with the culture there,
Yeah.
and still trying to preserve their own aspects of their culture as well. Because even for me, first or second generation, I don't know, but I feel a bit sad now that I've lost some of the knowledge or the things about my culture. which
Mhm.
I would love to teach my girls. So it's
Yes.
about connecting to your roots, but also being grateful that, for me, living in Perth, Australia, I'm so grateful that I live here. It's such a beautiful place to live in. Right now, I don't see any like divisions or things like that. Everyone's just very accepting and it's very laid back. And we've got beautiful blue skies and beaches. But I wouldn't want to live in Hong Kong, but I also want to preserve that part of me. So yeah, so it has been brewing in my brain actually for a little bit. So maybe we can talk offline.
It's funny that you mentioned that about your mom because the same kind of idea have been brewing in my mind. So let's talk.
Yeah,
Let's talk
yeah,
more. And
yeah.
when can I come to Australia? I have been to you. It's
Whenever you
Perth.
want.
Was it Perth I came? Melbourne. So
Melbourne.
beautiful. And it's very different. I mean, the energy is very different from the US. You guys are
Yeah,
really, really laid back. And I
yeah,
was like, how can I adopt this here? you know? Because here we're like, go, 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 go. Where you are is just like calm and people are really chill. And I would love to come and see you again. Well, I
yeah.
would like to go again
Come
and
to
see you in
Australia.
person.
Yeah,
Yes. So, on our channel, we explore culture, migration, integration, and identity for Asian women in diaspora who juggle dual cultural worlds, like you were just mentioning, that,
yeah.
even if you came very young, you still struggle. And then if you are a first immigrant, you like me, you struggle. So how do you see their badassery, if there is a word, badassery, manifest differently compared to women in ancestor or homelands?
I think race is definitely a thing in
Mm,
that whether it's consciously or subconsciously. I'll give you an example just from recently. We bought a house to do a renovation and we're selling it. And it's that type of house I know an Asian would not buy. It's one of those
mm,
character cottages, and it would be a Caucasian person that would love that house.
mm,
I love those houses, but, I'm not a typical Asian person either.
yeah,
But we ended up going with an agent that is Asian. And whilst, yes, we are very accepting here, but still, I think subconsciously there is something where like, oh, okay. And like, I kid you not, every single time there was a open house, there were Asians, very little Caucasians. And we're
mm,
going, "What is wrong?" And when we spoke to our coach, and she's like, "Yeah, our coach is Caucasian." And she goes, "I don't like bringing the race thing in, but it is a thing." Right.
wow,
Yeah. Even though, like, you don't see it like very black and white that there is racial division, but subconsciously people still have that. And I wanted to say as well that as an Asian person, we hear about all these Caucasian people going white privilege and racism, but it goes both ways. If you go to Asia, I can tell you they can be they are racist towards Caucasians. So it's, you know what I mean? Like it's
I know.
putting it into perspective, right? So I think growing up here,
Yeah.
yes, there was more racism probably when I was little. And for me, I grew up wanting to fit in because I look different. So I
Yeah.
would make myself personality wise and how I am to fit in more as a Caucasian or, Western society. But I mean, I'm just who I am. It's not,
Yeah.
I don't think it's, as I grow up, I just morphed and changed. And the thing is, I never made race a thing. Like being in
Yeah.
the hospital, a little Asian girl, being able
Mhm,
to be the chief pharmacist in a hospital with no one even like questioning about, about
mm,
it. Because I never made my skin color a thing. And I
mhm.
think what I notice is my friends that do make skin color a thing, they struggle and they see it
Yeah.
all the time. Whereas I never really did, unless it was very obvious someone was being racist towards me. But otherwise, it never bothered me. I just went about because I'm khaki. It's not because I'm Asian, it's not because
Yeah.
I'm, short or whatever. I'm khaki. I do what I do my work. I love on people, and I get the work done. So I just naturally, moved up. Yeah, so for me, I think
Yeah.
what's important is to not see the color because I mean, obviously, your skin color is different to mine, but go past that and look at the person
Mhm.
inside.
Yeah.
because the color of the skin doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You have
Right.
bad Asian people, you have bad Caucasian, you have bad, all different color of the spectrum people, and you have the really
Yeah.
good ones. Like, can you say that all, Caucasians are bad? No, because that is so untrue.
Right.
Every Caucasian person I've met, I've loved, and all, are all Asians really good at maths? No, they're not. You know?
So true.
So yeah. So I think we really just need to the badassery is to just go, screw all this bullshit. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was trying so hard not to swear.
Why?
Because we just need to
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately over in Melbourne there's a lot of that at the moment. And
Mm.
I think people need to understand that people
Yeah.
work hard to get to where they are, and maybe a certain race does work harder than others, then maybe it's like, okay, what are we doing that needs to change so that we can all, equalize rather than go, oh, I wish I was like them. Well, they worked their ass off for that. And whilst you sat there being jealous of them. So it goes both ways.
Yeah. What can I learn, right?
Yeah.
I
What
like
can I learn?
something, and what can I learn? How can I be
Yeah.
like? But if
Yeah.
that's the truth, of course, if
Yeah.
that's your
Because when we get Americans come to Australia and they're presenting, it's like, wow, they're so confident and they just, they have that.
yeah,
And then it's like, oh, how can I learn to have that level of
yeah,
confidence? Because
sure,
we don't get taught that at school.
yeah,
We don't. Yeah. So, people have it so good, but they don't know. And then they don't do anything with all the good that they have and they complain. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So true. Kaki,
Yeah.
if you were to write a self letter to your younger self under the pressure of family culture, what would you say now after collecting all these stories and writing all these stories and, gaining all this wisdom?
I would tell myself that everything's going to be okay
Mm.
and just be you.
Oh, I love that.
That's all you need to do. Be yourself, and that everything will be okay because you are always looked after. You are.
I love that.
Yeah.
What single message would you like to leave viewers today who may still be wrestling with identity, expectations, and self definition?
I'll really like people to take a step back and take a breath, because a lot of times it's because we are just surviving and we are just looking at all the things outside and doing all the things because we have to. But if you just take 5 minutes each day, a minute, let's start with a minute, just to take a breath and ask yourself what you need and start actually listening to yourself when your body's going, oh, I want this. Actually go and do it. Listen to yourself. Then you'll start seeing that your life will start changing. Yeah, that's what I love to leave people with, is just take some time for yourself to tune in and ask yourself what you want.
That's powerful. Thank you so much, Kaki, for coming and empowering me and my viewers and every woman that will be listening to this, because what you are doing in the world is not just for now, but for the next generation and the generation that will come after, who will look at your work, because they will be building on top of that. And you're such a gift. And I
Thank
thank
you.
you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I've loved this. Thank you.